We're live.
Hey, everybody. I can't hear myself in here. What do you call it? There we go. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Truly Inconsequential with Mr. Greer.
Hello.
And myself, Old Brim. What do you call it? Again, not all characters are created equal. Greer and I will be debating this week in front of you, a live audience, something a little different. We're basically putting 4 iconic secondary video game characters against each other in a squid game. Here on Truly Inconsequential. So I want to see what happens. I want to see who comes out victorious. Because, we've never done 4 players all at once.
No.
And that means we... gonna have to kind of like speed through these things a little bit, but
yeah,
we're just doing like a little bit of Truly Inconsequential-Cart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You like that?
Absolutely. Sorry, I'm just making sure everything's working fine.
As long as we're working, can they hear us?
Yeah. No. Everybody should be able to hear us.
Okay. Yeah. No. At the end of the day, what do you call it? I wasn't sure. If they could hear because I couldn't hear, and we're good. All right. So. Anyway, so anybody who's out there, anybody who's playing along with us, if you're hanging out, please make sure you join in on the chat so we know you're here. Also, as Mr. Greer always says,
rate, review, subscribe. If you could, please like all the videos, share all the videos. If you could, please just hop in the comments, join the conversation. Any interaction is good interaction, and it helps more people see us, more people just stumble across these streams, which would be absolutely great, and make them a lot more fun.
Absolutely. So, what do you call it? Without further ado, since we do have 4 players in this one, and again, this is being spread out. So we have 2 from Nintendo, 2 from Sega. Nintendo and Sega have always kind of gone head to head, right?
Yeah, they kind of work together now. Sega doesn't really do its own thing anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that.
I mean, like, when was the last time you had a Sega system? It was the Sega Dreamcast, and that was like
a long time ago.
Probably almost 2 decades ago at this point.
Okay, so is that why all like the Sega stuff is going on to like the Nintendo Switch? And
I don't know if that's why. I just know that a lot of the Sonic games wind up on the PlayStation or the Switch or something like that. You know what I mean? You don't really have Sega standalones anymore. You definitely don't have Sega standalones anymore.
Interesting. Very interesting, Mr. Greer. I did not know these things.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick, Frank Philip Aguilar, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Let me see. There's a couple more on here. It's just not coming up for me. Miguel Ruiz, thank you. Kidman J. Williams, thank you for the follow. William Cowley, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated, guys. Thank you,
Very
thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you. What do you call it? So, I guess without further ado, since we have all four players to get through, why don't we start? Now, do we want to start with, in our opinions, I guess, what might be the strongest one or the weakest one first?
Dealer's choice. You start with one, and we'll just go with it.
Let's. In my opinion, I mean, I believe that Toad and Tailz are the tail end. No, pun intended, I guess, of this group. What do you call it? But other people feel that Tailz and Toad are tremendously awesome, and they love them to death. I mean, but I guess like, in popularity-wise, which, again, this isn't necessarily popularity, this is, the importance in their game and in this overall story arc of the game.
Yeah.
So I want to start with, I guess, Tailz first, because Tailz, I don't know too much about, and what do you call it? I'm hoping you know more about him than I do, probably men's amends.
Yeah, probably.
All Tailz wasn't he like Sonic's pet? You know what I mean?
No, not pet, friend. They were.
So it was just a friend.
They were friends. Yeah, they were just. It was just Sonic's buddy. It was Sonic's best friend. That
Sonic says he's just a friend.
Yeah,
he says he's just a friend.
But yeah, no, that's really all Tailz was. Tailz was just Sonic's, just sidekick. That's pretty much it. Like Tailz was the Robin to Sonic's Batman. You know what I mean? Like, that's what that's what his MO was. I really don't. I only really remember Tailz from the cartoons a little bit, and
I remember in the games, I mean, you would have like a special feature where he would come roll out and zip people.
He was like, I'm pretty sure Tailz was like the second player. Like if you played the Sonic games in 2-player, Tailz was who you were playing as.
Right.
Who your second player was playing as. But no, Tailz was just where Sonic was super fast. Tailz was a little fast but could fly with his tail.
Okay.
That's where you get the name from. But
right. And he had multiple tails, right? Didn't he have like 2 or 3 tails?
Two or three. I think it might have been 2. But no. So Tailz literally was just the like. It almost felt like in the cartoons. It almost felt like it was Sonic's kid brother or something like that. Just. Sonic and Tailz are just 2 best friends trying to save whatever land that they live in. I don't remember the world that Sonic and Tailz inhabit, but
okay.
That's probably the gist of who Tailz is as a character.
And I mean, to be completely blunt, if you pulled Tailz out, I don't think it would make a damn lick of difference.
To the Sonic games, probably not.
What about to the cartoon? Because you said you remember the cartoon
very little bit. It might, just because the interactions between it's Sonic and Tailz. Like if you pulled him out, like it's Sonic as a loner, and I don't know if he'd necessarily have the same personality or the same vibe if he didn't have his best friend Tailz right next to him. You know what I mean?
Right.
But Tailz wasn't consequential enough to make it into the movie. The movie Tailz does. To my knowledge, I still haven't seen it. So if anybody's watching and you've seen the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, if I'm wrong, let me know.
He's not in it.
I don't think he's in it.
But I believe that him and Knuckles, who's also in this fray, I believe the 2 of them are supposed to be in the new movie. I don't know for sure.
I know Knuckles is definitely in the new movie.
Yeah. Who's playing Knuckles again?
Idris Elba.
Right. What do you call it? So, I mean, I don't know. I think that Knuckles is probably more consequential than Tailz is, because didn't they have their own Knuckles game?
I think they had Sonic and Knuckles.
Yeah,
I think they had a Sonic and Knuckles game, but no, I think Knuckles is consequential because like he's like the anti-hero. He kind of like makes it, because I don't necessarily think Knuckles is a villain, because Dr. Robotnik is the villain in that universe.
Okay.
So I think he's more of like the anti-hero, whereas like he's the person that Sonic goes up against in terms of like who's better. You know what I mean? Like
right.
that. So it's not necessarily they're taking down Knuckles because Knuckles is trying to take over the world or whatever. It's just because Knuckles is just the one that is Sonic's rival, I guess you could say.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Not
so now again, so Knuckles and Tailz, essentially they're would you consider them both secondary characters, or would you consider
I actually think that Tailz might be more consequential than Knuckles, because like
really,
yeah, because you don't like you pull Knuckles out, and it's just Sonic and Tails versus
Robotnik.
Robotnik.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, do you really need Knuckles? Do you really need the Knuckles character to be the anti-Sonic or the reverse of Sonic? Do you need that to tell these stories?
Is that really what Knuckles is? He's like the reverse Sonic?
I don't know if reverse is the right word, but Knuckles is like he's another hedgehog who obviously he's got the spikes on his knuckles. He's not the exact same as Sonic, but he's always
bigger, right?
But he's but he's like the anti-Sonic. Like he's the I'm trying to think of a good
antagonist.
No, because the antagonist of Sonic is
still Robotnik.
Is Dr. Robotnik.
Right.
He's more of just like the anti-hero, like the guy that's just like, I don't really know. Like I said, he's like literally the anti-Sonic. Like he's the opposite of what Sonic is. So
okay.
I don't know if that really makes him super important. What's up, Herb? Welcome to the stream. You know what I mean? Like if you pull out Tails, I feel like Sonic's losing his best friend. He's losing his sidekick. You know what I mean? Like Tails and Sonic are, they go together like
white on rice?
Yeah, like white on rice. I'm just out of it right now.
For those of you who are just tuning in now, we have a four-way dance going on for the first time ever here on Truly Inconsequential. We're doing Knuckles versus Sonic, Knuckles versus Tails versus Luigi versus mushroom Toad. So what do you call it? You guys can feel free to jump in at any time. Right now, we're trying to decipher, I guess, who's more consequential on the Sega side. Knuckles or Tails.
At the very end, we'll see who's the most inconsequential of all four of them.
Yeah.
But no, like I don't really see this. I just don't really see the importance of Knuckles. You know what I mean? Like I think he's a cool character. I think he's a more edgier character than what Sonic is.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what makes him cool. Like he's like the Deadpool, or like he's like the Venom to Sonic Spider-Man. Like Venom's kind of like an anti-hero.
Okay.
He is kind of like a cool character, but like in the grand scheme of things, I don't really think.
He's Ken to the Ryu.
Yeah, exactly. He's Ken to the Ryu. So I don't know, but I don't know if necessarily Knuckles is really all that important because he's not the main villain of the franchise. He's not the big bad guy.
He's just there.
He's just there.
But he does have his own game. Correct?
Does Knuckles have his own game?
I think he has his own game, which in the grand scheme of things, I think then that might push him further ahead than Toad, which is going to be interesting when we get to that point. Hey, it's Jose. He's back. He's here. What's going on?
Back,
How you doing, brother? What do you call it, Lisa? Thank you for liking the stream.
He doesn't have his own game. Is
Okay.
there a Knuckles game?
So we started with Tails and Knuckles. It's a four-way dance. We've got Tails versus Knuckles from Sega versus Luigi and Toad from Nintendo. So what do you call it, guys? Help us out.
I don't even
here.
think that's what I mean. Like I don't even think he was. Like I don't even think he's definitely not a bad guy, and to my knowledge. Like he's literally just like the. I feel like he'd be like an asshole older brother. Like he's just a jerk for no reason. Like he doesn't have to be, but he's not necessarily a bad guy trying to take down everybody. Right now, Jose, thank you for sharing the stream, Lisa. Much appreciated. Jose, we're starting with we're doing Tails and Knuckles. Knuckles is an anti-hero, exactly. Yeah, Knuckles is just the anti-hero. Yeah. But I don't necessarily. Does that make him more important than Tails? I don't know, because Tails is just the.
Just the best friend.
Is just the best friend. He's the sidekick for Sonic. I think it might do in the cartoon at least. I think it would do damage to Sonic's character if you just yoinked Tails out because he would just be a loner.
A rebel. I'm a loner, Dottie. A rebel.
Yeah.
Just like Pee-wee. What do you call it? Jose says Red Hood of Sega.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Hey, Lisa. Hey, guys, at the dentist, but here in spirit. Oof. We appreciate that, but we worry about your teeth. Hopefully you're good. And
hello, Mary.
Say hello to the dentist for us. We are not anti-dentites here. Let's see, Jose. No, they feel about the same. Sega tends to treat them about on the same level. Hey, Mary, how you doing?
You see, that is kind of what makes this a little difficult because there are games where it's Sonic and Tails, and there are games where it's Sonic and Knuckles. You know what I mean? Like, really, the only consequential one is obviously Sonic. Between the two of them.
It's just I guess it's a difficult. Who do you pull? It really doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, that's probably about. You're probably about right. Like they're just like, as long as you have Sonic as a part, as long as you have Sonic and Robotnik in the game, it doesn't really change much to the Sonic vibe, story, video games, or
movie, because neither of them were even in the first movie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So let's I guess move on to Toad a little bit, because Toad.
I think Toad is probably the most useless character within Mario.
I do too, but people seem to love Toad, and I guess it's the Toad Kingdom. I mean, it's not just Toad, because it's like a million Toads, right?
Yeah, well,
like, do they all have different names? I mean,
no,
like,
I don't really know. I think
it's
just,
Toadette, like the girl.
The thing
Toad.
is that a secondary character. The thing is that as secondary characters, they are pretty cool. Oh no, look, Tails and Knuckles, very cool. Knuckles is really cool. I loved Knuckles as a character. I thought he was really awesome. I don't know. I just feel like Tails is more. I feel like Tails is more consequential just because I feel like he is more memorable, which obviously doesn't make him more consequential. But I feel like it's Sonic and Tails. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if you took Tails out.
Joseph says, "Nah, Toad is pretty useless."
He's a bum. Like,
he is.
Like, the only time Toad is useful is in Mario Kart because he's a really good character. His stats are really good in Mario Kart,
which is so weird. Now, why would they make him so powerful in Mario Kart, but he sucks at life and everything else?
Well, because they really doesn't have any other use in any of the other games. Toad is just now kind of becoming more popular with Captain Toad games. I do remember the Chainsmoker voiced Toad in the Mario show. That was my favorite Toad. Yeah, that was very funny. That was a very funny version of Toad. I forgot about the Captain Toad games. I didn't even honestly totally didn't remember those existed.
And that's why we need people that are
but
paying attention.
I don't really know what makes Toad consequential in any sense of the word. He's literally just I'm pretty sure he's just a save point in Mario 64. He just pops up in any of the Mario games. He's not really a playable character. He's just like he's literally just a background character who's there to fill space.
Right.
I don't know what importance Toad brings.
I don't think he brings any importance.
Like, if he didn't appear on screen, I don't know if that changes anything that has to do with the Mario games. You know what I mean?
I mean, I would even argue Princess Peach, but I mean, at least he's going after Princess Peach.
Peach is consequential. Peach is consequential because that's the whole reason Mario's there, is to save Princess Peach.
Right. But Toad, I mean,
he's still fixing pipes in Brooklyn somewhere.
Speaking about fixing pipes, first Jose says Toad is really inconsequential. I believe that. I agree.
The most useless character, one of the most useless characters in all of video games.
Now we're gonna go to Luigi. Now, in terms of Luigi, everybody knows who Luigi is, and he is a very popular character. But all he is Mario's brother. So it's like
it's Mario, but it's Mario and Luigi. Like they
needed a second player is what they needed.
They needed a second player, and I think like where you have Mario, who's the ready to run into adventure and go crazy and with reckless abandon. Luigi's more of the reserved, tame, sensible character that you kind of needed. You know, I mean, like, look, some of the most highest-selling Nintendo games are Luigi's Mansion. Like, the whole game is centered around Luigi and how he's absolutely terrified of his surroundings. So, no, I think you need Luigi. I think you need Luigi's character because I think he's a nice complement to Mario's, like, crazy adventureness, like running out on adventures with absolute lunacy. You know what I mean?
Out of the four, Luigi is my favorite. But, at the end of the day, like, is he really consequential? You know what I mean? I mean, again, like you had said, Luigi is like the opposite of Mario. Mario goes in, I'm ready to go, but Luigi is reserved and he's, scared. And I mean, and the fact of the matter is they only made Luigi because they needed a second player for the Mario games, as for Mario Brothers. So this way you'd be able to play as two different characters. And then they wound up making it, where you could play as Peach and Toad.
If you yoinked out Luigi, that doesn't exist. Like, the Mario Brothers doesn't exist.
The Mario Brothers doesn't exist, but you'd still have multiplayer games because they still eventually had Toad. They eventually had Princess Peach that you could play as you got further into the games. You know what I'm saying?
I think the Game Boy game might have had that. Might have had
Yoshi,
that.
You know what I'm saying? Like all these other characters that they kind of threw in to Yeah, and now you could play as these characters, and then they had their own spin-off games.
Luigi is really consequential. Luigi got his own movie. He gets the best thug life memes, and he's the only white man that can actually jump. This is true. That's what I'm saying. Like Mary says, I believe they are the best together. Exactly. Like I think you can't have Mario without Luigi. You know what I mean? Like,
well, you can't have Luigi without Mario, but I don't know if you can't have Mario without Luigi. And again, out of these four, Luigi is my top pick for.
Well, that's what I'm
most
saying. Like
consequential.
I absolutely think. Well, no, but I think Luigi's like I think if you're a big enough character that you warrant bringing in your own standalone video game,
right?
That then makes you consequential within your universe because like sure, Luigi might not have been a popular character without Mario, but they for reals yoinked Mario out of a video game, and Luigi stands alone and is able to carry the whole thing by himself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And and I would argue that only, but except for the fact that, like you said, the game with Luigi and the one that was a bestseller.
It was. I don't know if Luigi's Mansion. I don't know if it was definitively like got the bestseller stamp on it.
No, it is one of their bestsellers.
It was a very popular game within Nintendo. I mean, they've had 3 iterations. It's GameCube, DS, and it just came out on the Switch. I just beat it like a few months ago.
Okay. I mean, listen. I think Luigi, in my opinion, I do agree with you. I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit, but what do you call it? Except Mario is missing, Luigi couldn't save that game. Yeah, I don't even know that game.
I didn't know Mario was missing. I never actually played that one.
I
think the Mario Brothers is so integral to the story of Mario,
right,
that it would be impossible to take out Luigi and have it all be the same universe in the same game.
I'm gonna take a step back though, and I'm just gonna play devil's advocate for the sake of the show, and I want to go backwards. Mario didn't even have his own game originally. He started in Donkey Kong.
That wasn't Mario.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't. He's
Who
not.
was it?
It's they call him Jumpman. That's not even Princess Peach in that game.
That looks like Mario.
It's not Mario. It's technically not Mario though.
Really?
Technically, his name is Jumpman.
Okay, but Jumpman is technically Mario. I mean, they took him and then they made him into his own game. I mean, they liked the character and they said, "Okay, I'm going to take him." Maybe he didn't have a name at the time.
That's Rose in that game. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's not Peach either. I get that, but the Mario brand, was built and pushed forward because
as Mario's
of
brothers,
the Super Mario Brothers. You know what I mean?
Well, Mario Brothers was the first one,
yeah,
and then eventually became Super Mario Brothers because then that was, I think, the second iteration. Because Mario Brothers was the first one,
yeah,
and then Super Mario Brothers was the next one.
Yeah, I will admit, in the beginning, Luigi was just somebody for your little brother or whoever you're playing multiplayer with to just play as.
Right.
But he became so much bigger and so much more of a character over time to where now, like right now, I'm not talking like if we're talking back in the day when Mario games first came out.
That wasn't. I was saying the reason why I was bringing that up, Tom, was simply because to say that Mario stood alone before Luigi.
No, I get that, but I'm saying but now, like current
day, yes, it's like the spaghetti to the meatball.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You can't yoink Luigi because he's Luigi's been able to stand alone on it. Luigi's been able to stand by himself and create awesome stories, awesome experiences for people within video games. That I don't know that you can just take Luigi out.
Okay,
so something would be missing.
Let's say Luigi is in the top 2 in this, so we can move, Luigi out of this conversation. Let's concentrate on the other 3 and see who's gonna go against Luigi, because we still have to knock people off. So is Toad? I mean, is Toad out of the game? Do we pull Toad out completely? Everybody? I mean, what are we doing with Toad?
It's rough, because what sucks for me is I don't know how I could. So Jose says Tailz. That's my problem. Is Tailz moves up for sure. So you think Tailz is important? Because I was leaning that way too. In my opinion, Luigi is consequential. Toad is out. I agree. I think Toad is probably the most inconsequential character on this entire list.
Where was that one from?
That was Mary said.
Oh, there it is.
In my
Mary.
opinion, Luigi is consequential. Toad is out. Yeah, that's the thing. I think Toad is more inconsequential than Tailz and Knuckles.
Okay.
I think Tailz and Knuckles, like Jose said earlier, are for the most part in the same boat. I think Tailz is a little bit more consequential because I think he's a little bit more involved in the Sonic games than Knuckles is. I could be wrong. But I think Toad's just there. Like, Toad just exists within the Mario universe. Like, he's rarely a playable character. Like I said, I think he's a save point in Mario 64. He pops up, I think, when you save the princess in some of the when you're trying to save the princess in those castles in the Super Mario games. I don't know what Toad's real importance is. You know what I mean? Like, to the story.
I don't think there is any importance, except they have like the little Toad houses. You remember, like, you had to go around to. I don't even
there's
remember
like 50
which games.
million of Toad. Like, there's a bazillion different Toads. Like, you don't really need them. Like, they're not integral to the story. Like, really the only story in Mario is, can Mario save Peach and take down Bowser? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it really. You're right. I mean, there is really no other storyline to Mario at all.
yeah.
I mean, it's listen, I'm okay getting rid of Toad if you're okay getting rid of Toad.
I don't.
But is Toad less consequential than Knuckles and Tails? You know what I'm saying? Like, essentially, Toad.
You can at least play as those characters. Like,
You play as Toad too.
yeah, very rarely though.
Oh, you said it yourself in one of the biggest.
This boils down to Tails versus Luigi, but Luigi beats out Tails. He beats him out due to the involvement that Luigi has in the Mario lore and the fact that he got his own games and has been celebrated more than Tails. Tails is great, but he will always be that add-on character for Sonic that won't really add to him at all. I agree. So now, okay, so. But I think it boils down. Yeah, but Luigi, obviously, way more consequential than all of them, I believe. Luigi's probably the most consequential of anybody on this list.
I think so.
But if in my opinion, guys, feel free to hop in the comments because we're running out of time. We got about like 7 minutes left. Who on this list do you feel like is the most inconsequential? I would argue that the most on this list would be Toad. I think Toad is probably the most useless character on this whole list. And I would almost lump Tails and Knuckles into that. If it wasn't Toad, it would be those two. You know what I mean? Peace out, Mary. Thank you for being here. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Mary. Mary says Tails is more inconsequential.
So we got one for Tails. Tails is inconsequential. Or is that what you're saying too, Jose? That Tails is the inconsequential one? Let us know. I can't imagine Tails being more inconsequential than Toad. I really don't understand. I don't understand the importance of Toad. I think he's just a cool character, memeable character that everybody likes because you like him in Mario Kart. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I don't see how Knuckles is more consequential than Tails. But again, I don't know. I'm not a huge, Sonic guy.
Yeah.
I played them all. I have most of them. You know what I mean? I just am not. I'm not a big. I don't know much about them. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, simple. You go to Comic-Con, you see a plumber in green, you think Luigi. You see someone with two tails, you think furry, and you keep them away from your kids. Luigi wins.
That's good logic.
That's a very good logic,
That's
Jose.
good logic.
I don't know anything. I don't know anything that can beat that.
So Knuckles. So we're pulling Knuckles down and putting Tails up with Luigi. So Knuckles. Are we saying that Knuckles and Toad are out of the game? They're inconsequential.
So are we deeming two of these characters inconsequential?
Well, I guess. I think we have to deem three of them inconsequential. You see what I'm saying?
If it's three of them?
Yeah. Right?
Well, then it's not even close. It's Luigi's the most consequential of them. It's Tails, Knuckles, and Toad, or all three of them are inconsequential.
Okay, so if we were playing, I mean, it's more difficult.
Because look, it's the same thing. Like I don't necessarily think Tails and Knuckles are all that important. Yeah, they're cool characters, but if you yoinked the both of them out of the video games, you still have Sonic versus Robotnik. Totally fine. Mm-hmm. No difference.
If you yoink Toad out, even if you yank Luigi out, you still have Mario going after Princess Peach and going after Bowser.
That's true, but Luigi at least Luigi is a very popular character within pop culture and also has his own franchise basically.
I agree with you, but in all fairness, as we've always said, it's not. Even though we always play,
none of these characters have their own franchise.
No. Well, Luigi does. I guess.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Luigi is consequential enough within his own story to have his own franchise of games. He has his own run of games by himself.
So the least consequential, so the most inconsequential out of this whole crew, if we're going to just pick one to be the most inconsequential,
it's Toad.
It's going to be Toad.
Yeah.
Okay. So second runner-up for most inconsequential. I think we need to at least.
I think it's Tailz. I think if we're ranking them, most inconsequential is Toad. Second, above that is Tailz.
Okay.
Then Knuckles, because I don't think.
So, but why Knuckles over Tailz? That's the question.
Because I just personally think Knuckles is a fun character, like I said, like the anti-Sonic. I think that makes him kind of fun. You know what I mean?
Right. That's a good point.
Yep, but what are we arguing here? The value of these characters on their own, or the franchise they belong to? Well, I mean, like that's what I'm saying. Like I think Luigi as a character on his own has proven that he's a viable character within video games and within media. More so than any of the other ones.
But if we yoinked him out of the game itself, like if we said, okay, we're picking Mario, you know what I mean? But see, it's still Mario Brothers, so technically he's
and if you took if you took Tails and Knuckles out, it's still Sonic vs. Robotnik. Yeah. If you took Toad out,
it's still right.
Nobody's gonna care. I mean, like at all.
So I think the top player is Luigi. He is consequential.
Yeah.
And we're gonna say Toad is absolutely inconsequential with a slight, slightly behind him. We're talking Tails, and slightly behind Tails is Knuckles.
Because Greer thinks Knuckles is cool and ran around his mother's house as a kid, punching walls, pretending to be him. Clearly best. Actually, Sonic was my favorite because he was blue, and blue is my favorite color.
I mean, if you guys think that we should argue between Knuckles and Tails, I mean, we still have a couple minutes left. But I just don't think that. I think it's kind of like it could go either way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't.
We have one winner and we have one loser. You know what I mean?
think that's pretty much. We have one winner. We have one winner, and it looks like we have three losers.
And the winner, but the best one is Nintendo, and the least consequential is Nintendo, which should say something.
Yeah, absolutely. You see, it's just like Knuckles and Tails at the very least have purposes within their video games and within their stories.
Right.
Toad, I feel like, really doesn't.
No.
Toad gets very useless when you're not playing Mario Kart.
This is very true. Anyway, listen, guys, we appreciate you hanging out with us again for this epic episode of Truly Inconsequential. It was the first time we've done 4, so it was very interesting, very different. It was a little fast-paced on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you call it? Maybe one day we'll do like 4 members of something else.
Luigi won, and in order of losers is Tails, Knuckles, and Toad. Yep, that's for the most part where we're at. That's about right.
The Tails and Knuckles, we flip-flopped a little bit, but they're in the middle. It doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah, they're still losers.
Yeah. Anyway, we love you. We appreciate you. Make sure you check out Thursday night, the brand new episode of the Grindhouse Radio. We have Mark Schenker from the band Kicks. And Mr. Greer and Kimberlina Bombolina are going to have their wonderful vacation.
Can't wait.
So wish them a good voyage, and I'm going to miss you guys. Anyway, as Mr. Greer always says,
rate, review, subscribe. Please like all the videos, share all the videos. If you're watching on YouTube on the replay, please hit that subscribe button so you know when we post a new video. And if you could, please like it, comment on it. All the interaction that we get helps more people see us and more people join us. So everybody that's shared, thank you. Everybody that's liked, thank you. And all our new followers, much appreciated. You guys are the best. Thank you so much.
We are going to be skipping next week. We were supposed to do an episode twice today. We're not going to have the time, so we are going to do one, not next week, but we're going to be back the following week. So we love you. We appreciate you, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Later, everybody.